We can go directly to the questions which we collected on Discord, and it will be our entry point to later steps.
Okay.
So the first question was, will there be an airdrop for SnowGem users?
I think actually that's the last question, but we can still answer it first. Um, I think we need to clarify here that there are going to be three DAOs that will have significant amount of the token, and these DAOs, they will have their internal dynamics and decide basically how to spend them. This will be the core team DAO, which is basically four of us: Branimir, Bozhidar, Camille, and me. And then we have the Comrade Cooperative DAO. The Comrade Cooperative is basically the legal organization that hosted the project initially. Basically, it emerged as like from us who are members of the Comrade Cooperative, and it's a cooperative organization registered in Bulgaria, basically. And yeah, so that's the second DAO, and the third DAO will be the community DAO. That's consisting of all token holders. And the idea is that these three DAOs, they will have the core team will have 15% of the token, the Comrade Cooperative will have again 15%, and the community DAO will have 20%. And the rest of the tokens, 50%, will go to a bonding curve. We'll cover that later. But the idea is that after we split the token this way, then each of the DAOs can decide how to spend them. The core team DAO will behave much more or less like a company. So the core team DAO is just four members. We are voting with our tokens. So again, we need to end up with a consensus. The Comrade Cooperative DAO is a bit bigger. Currently, there are about 30 members. Some of them are disengaged, but yeah, why not joining more people from the current community of Comrade as formal members of the cooperative? You can see the Comrade Cooperative as our Ethereum foundation. But it's not a foundation; it's a cooperative. It's just a different form, but very close. Yeah, the Comrade Cooperative will have 15%. And they will again be relatively fast in taking decisions, but still it's a cooperative. It takes more time to reach a consensus. And then we have the community DAO that will be very slow in making decisions because this is all token holders, and probably every proposal will take a lot of time to be confirmed by the DAO. Of course, all these DAOs will be on chain, currently on Ethereum. And the idea is that these three DAOs, they will decide how to spend the token. And let's say the core team DAO, which is the easiest, is currently 14 members. We'll spend some token between us just to reward our contribution to the project. But we will list some significant portion also for bounties and all kinds of other things we need to do to bootstrap the community. Because as the other two DAOs will be slower in taking decisions, the responsibility of really bootstrapping, like the cold start bootstrapping of the community, will be for the core team. So within core team, we are currently also recruiting more contributors that we reward with Apocryph token. The current rate is 1,000 tokens per hour of work. And also we'll probably do some airdrops. Of course, the Comrade Cooperative can also decide to give bounties and do airdrops, and also the community DAO can do the same, as long as the community reaches a consensus. Regarding which projects will receive airdrops, we in the Comrade Cooperative, we have investment from Eternity, the Eternity blockchain project, and we have also a grant that we get from Aragon, who are also making DAOs. The grant was actually for Autonomy, which is our DAO project. But yeah, so basically, I suppose that the Comrade Cooperative will decide to do airdrop on Aragon and Eternity, while in the core team, since currently a big part of the community is from SnowGem, Camille is from SnowGem, and also we have this idea to probably re-implement SnowGem on Apocryph. So probably that's why it's very likely that we'll do an airdrop to SnowGem, but current to SnowGem holders. But two things, probably it's not going to be like to all holders. My proposal will be to actually do it only to people that subscribe, and yeah, basically we need to decide that. I'm for it. I suppose Camille will vote for it, but we need also votes for from Branimir and Bojidar, and if four of us decide, then we can do an airdrop. So that's how it works. It's not just my decision or just company decision. It's just yeah, currently it's the consensus between four of us. But if me and Camille want it, yeah, why not? We just need two more guys to decide.
Yeah, and regarding Snowgem reincarnation, it will be mostly about having content nodes. To realize that vision from 2019, when we presented that roadmap, and at the end, I see it as something like Airwave project, so a permanent storage solution, or something like that. But that will be decided how the final shape will look like.
Yeah, we will definitely need this. It's important to note that actually Apocryph is running on top of IPFS, so it's very natural for us to actually make a storage solution using Apocryph. And yeah, I think we can also make two kinds of it, like a permanent and temporary storage, because yeah, it's something that's very straightforward use case. A lot of projects will need it, so it's very likely that this will be one of the first things we're going to implement.
Maybe you'll now mention something about how Apocryph and subchains will coexist.
Okay. Yeah, so we don't call them exactly subchains. We still don't know what term to use. We call them, let's say, agent chains. So with Apocryph, it's very important that we are not just one chain, but Apocryph consists of many chains, and these many chains they're more or less equal. So it's not one main chain and many subchains, but all of them are equal. There is just one agent, special agent that we call agent zero. And agent zero is the bootstrap registry. You can see it as a peer discovery registry, where basically you see uh, all uh, all other chains listed. But the design of the network is such that not all communication goes through agent zero, because this way agent zero will become a bottleneck. The idea is that all the agent chains communicate with each other. So the idea is very similar to Cosmos and this inter-blockchain communication idea, that the chains communicate with each other. And the idea is that you can have a wallet that the assets of the wallet actually exist on many of the agent chains. And when you want to transfer money between chains, you burn the token on one of the chains and you see it on the other. If you can transfer between your wallets on different chains, or you can transfer between your wallet on one chain to other person wallet on another chain, but the principle is the same. So you burn the token, the first chain produces a proof, and then this proof is relayed by the validators to the other chain, which then mints. Okay, we have a raised hand. I don't know how to. Yeah, okay. You can speak, Luce, if you're raising hand. Oh, no, okay, probably. Yeah, probably I raised your hand. Sorry. Okay. So yeah, that's how inter-blockchain communication works, and that's how agents work. And it's very important. Another aspect of the chain is the mining algorithm. So yeah, that's another topic. How our consensus works. And in terms of solving the blockchain trilemma, our performance is similar to Avalanche and Solana, meaning that we can have thousands of um, tens of thousands of transactions per second. Actually, under the hood, we are using Snowball. So the consensus is actually running on Snowball. But Snowball itself, it has a cold start problem, meaning that it's a consensus that relies on statistics. And if you have just 100 nodes, the statistics is not working and the network can be compromised. And to fix that, we actually introduced something very interesting, which is called King of the Hill mining. With the King of the Hill mining, the miners are not mining each block, so it's not about mining a hash of each block. It's about mining a slot. And the idea is that it's similar to vanity gen actually. So you're trying to generate a private public key pair where the public key has certain properties. Let's say it starts with certain characters, the key. And of course, you need to randomly just generate keys until you reach a one that's meaningful. And the idea is that each agent chain has certain amount of slots, let's say 1,000 slots. And each slot has a prefix that you need to match. And miners, while they're mining, at one point they reach a key that fits to certain slot. And when they fit that slot, they become validator of that chain. And the good thing about this mining algorithm is that it distributes validators randomly to chains. So even though a chain can have a relatively small amount of slots, uh, even though it's not small, but even if we consider it small, the idea is that if I'm a attacker, I cannot purposefully target certain chain because I don't know while I'm mining keys at which chain these keys are going to arrive. So that's security through randomness at one point. And the other is that even if we have trillions of agents and agent chains, eventually all of them will have validators because, of course, also one validator can mine several keys and participate in several chains. And yeah, I kind of forgot the question, but that was, I think, nice explanation of the overall consensus algorithm.
Yeah, and as far I understood you previously, people will be able to run Apocryph cluster together with those sub agent chains, right? So I can mine Crypt token and also some other, correct?
Yeah, that's also very interesting, because like this key mining, it's actually independent of any token. Like even if we didn't had the idea of tokens on our chain, if we had just these agents that are they receive some transactions and they validate if these transactions are okay or not, and they have certain state. So even if we have no tokens, just let's say some programs that communicate with each other and synchronize their state, even in this case, our algorithm is going to work. So we don't need the idea of token to have the network running. But of course, the state of the agents can also include things like, people's balances. And the idea is that we will, of course, introduce some token economics in the system. And in this token economics, the agent zero, the main agent, will actually reward all miners of all chains. So every time a miner produces a block, it's going to be eventually accounted in agent zero, and agent zero will reward the miner with Apocryph token, which is a good place to mention that the Apocryph token will have inflation this way. But also, if I'm a developer, I will because okay. So here the question is how the chains appear, how the chains start to exist. And okay, so I'm a developer. I want to do a project, and for my project, I'm developing a system of agents like DApp. Basically, it was incorrect last time when I said that each agent has a chain. It's more correct to say each DApp has a chain, and then within the DApp you can have several agents. So each DApp has a chain, and I'm making my DApp, and of course, since it's an Apocryph chain, the agent zero is going to reward it. Yeah, it's actually rewards also from the mining taxes. But the idea is that I can implement my custom logic, and I can see the list of my validators, and I can also give them something else, not just the Apocryph token, but something else like my token or something else. But yeah, basically it's going to be my token. So the idea is that if I want to start a chain, I can reward the validators that choose to validate it. Because the thing is that even as a validator, I'm mining a key that's going to be valid for certain chain. I just may not have the resources to validate all the chains, especially if there are really a lot of dApps. So certain agents may decide to blacklist or whitelist certain chains, and that's a way to basically guarantee that the chain will have more adoption. That's the idea.
Okay. And there was also a question related to privacy.
Hmm. Okay,
So
that's
Bill
another.
asked about snarks,
Yeah,
anonymous transactions.
yeah. Of course, we like a very important part of Apocryph is that we basically give ultimate power to the developers. Like there are other chains. Seba actually sent me this chain Elrond. I think that's they are yet another WebAssembly running chain. But the idea is that WebAssembly is not a comfortable way to do software. Yeah, of course, you can write in any language, but it's a painful experience for the developer. With Apocryph, we are actually running on top of Perper. That's just very mature uh, cloud native stack. And it's you can run, of course, any language, any framework inside it. But the idea is that you can reuse all your tooling, and in that regard you can implement really whatever you think about on Apocryph. So yeah, and when I say whatever you want, um, of course not everything needs a consensus, so you can implement of course certain parts that are smart contract like, and you can do it with the consensus engine. But also you can implement like reusing all the stack, reusing all the infrastructure. You can implement your own layer 2 kind of things, or other things that are running locally on a computer. Let's say this uh, file storage solution is again going to rely on some local resources, so certain validators need to choose whether they want to host files or not. And the idea is that in Apocryph we have two kinds of agents: public agents and private agents. And public agents are very similar to smart contracts in that regard, that their state is validated by the validator. So when you send a transaction to a public agent, all validators of its chain should confirm that this is a correct transaction, let's say. But but with private agents, actually, we don't have validated state, we have private state, and we can implement whatever we want. So private agents are like programs, like let's say like apps that you install on your validator node. So we even have this idea to have like even a mobile app, and on this mobile app you can browse a directory of applications and say, okay, I want to install this application on my validator node. And when I install this application on my validator node, I can become a file storage provider. I can become computing provider, GPU provider, or I can implement things like private communication channels. So, excuse me. Mm. So certain amount of certain part of the private agents, they can form their own private layer 2 network. They can communicate with each other, and then when they reach some decision, they can then notify a public agent. So let's say it can be like a telegram of between the private agents that they can communicate privately and then do something on the public network, or they can of course use all kinds of fancy cryptography also. These zero knowledge proofs will be also interesting use cases. So the idea is that that's the main idea of Apocryph. You can do whatever you think for. We are not just limited to some very exotic, very specific runtime with very specific languages and some very let's say unmature architecture that just works. No, here we use enterprise grade, industry scale, cloud native architecture that has also a consensus algorithm. But really, the architecture and the runtime itself is the powerful thing. So yeah, that's that's about privacy. We can do both private channels and also zero knowledge proofs.
Yeah. Also, another questions were about comparison with other chains.
Okay.
So if you could briefly go through it.
Which things specifically?
Uh, let's start with Polkadot, maybe.
Polkadot. Okay, yeah, Polkadot is nice. Actually, we were looking both Cosmos and Polkadot initially. Uh, yeah, both of them have this nice idea that they say, okay, so we provide you the consensus, and you can do whatever you want with your runtime, but you just figure it out. We give you this API and this interface, and you can do your thing uh, separately, and it will just reuse the consensus. And it's nice if you just have a simple app. But if you want to have this linearly scaling cluster locally, host a lot of these apps, you want them to be to have some infrastructure, to have some tool set, not just bare bone API and just use it, but actual framework around it, actual programming model, because Apocryph also comes with things like object capability, security, and reactive model, stream processing model. So basically, when agents communicate with each other, they subscribe to each other, not calling events. So it comes with a programming model. It's not just figure it out. So both Cosmos and Polkadot lack here on this promise. Also, Polkadot, it's basically proof of authority, and there are some contingencies about, okay, if this authority fails, is corrupted, is going to be penalized. But after all, it's proof of authority, which is, yeah, it's not even consensus. And yeah, Cosmos is proof of stake. The 1999 practical Byzantine fault tolerance consensus, very old school thing. In terms of consensus, we are much modern. We are in the Avalanche, Solana kind of yeah, in that ballpark. What else should we mention?
The often question is also related with when Binance.
When Binance.
Yeah.
It's not up to us. Uh, 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 so other projects are run by business guys or some other guys, but not by developers. Here, the core team is developers only, and our job is to deliver the software, to deliver the technology, and then based on the this token economics, this phenomenon, this blockchain phenomenon, we hope that we are going to build a community. But actually, that's something that we kind of lack, because I think actually the project is much more exciting than it looks like. But that's it. We are developers. We kind of rely on the Comrade Cooperative to also help here. Um, yeah, we need to see also how it's going to work, but we definitely need help in making it popular. We are just developers. We are just going to deliver the technology. It's MIT licensed. We are proposing a token, but as Seba mentioned that yeah, basically the token cannot be adopted by the network, so someone can get our code, deploy another network, and say, you the core team, you don't deserve anything. That's technically possible. So yeah, that's it. We are not concerned with going to exchanges and anything like that. We hope the community will help us reach popularity.
Yeah, but it's worth to mention that it will be easy to get on Pancake or Uniswap. So
Yeah.
decentralized exchanges, this is what we are aiming.
Yes, and also we have bonding curve. So basically, when we deploy our token, it's 50% of the token goes to a bonding curve, and the bonding curve is a market. So you can sell from, you can buy from the bonding curve, and you can sell to the bonding curve. It's like an automated market maker, but yeah, it's a bit different than Uniswap, but basically the same thing. A decentralized market that's unstoppable and that has an automatic algorithm from determining the price. Our is just linear. Our bonding curve will start from three die cents, so 3 cents, dollar cents, and go to $1, and it's going to be a linear graph. So yeah, the at any point, from the beginning, we'll have market from the bonding curve. Later, and everyone who gets our token can, of course, list it on the centralized exchange, and then arbitrage will appear. People will start arbitraging between these markets, which will synchronize the price. And when we grow the cap, the market cap, I'm sure that the centralized exchanges will be also interested, but we are not the guys that are paying to a centralized exchange to get listed. Yeah, that's not going to happen. Camille, some other questions?
Yeah, what we have here. um, yeah, I think that when we'll be in Exodus Trezor wallet, it also depends on the adoption and popularity.
Yeah,
Um, what to mention else? It will be started as the token will start on Ethereum, and it will go and it will be connected with the main chain once it will start. There
yes,
will be interoperability between the chains. First
yeah.
one is Ethereum, but later we'll connect to Binance Smart Chain for sure and others.
Yes, that's very important feature actually, because since we have this inter-blockchain communication as underlying main mechanism of Apocryph itself, because we have inter-blockchain communication between the agents, uh, it will be natural to also have inter-blockchain communication with all other chains, and we even have a prototype for IBC with Ethereum. So yeah, definitely Ethereum and Binance chain, and also all kinds of other things like Polkadot, Cosmos, yeah, all of them. Probably not with Bitcoin because yeah, Bitcoin is very limited in terms of scripting.
And another thing to mention is that you can use any programming language to write a app. It can be C Sharp, Java, Python, JavaScript.
Yeah,
So this will be a really nice feature which other chains does not have. Because, for example, if you want to develop something for Solana, you need to know Rust. If you want to develop for Cosmos, you have also different set of languages which are having SDKs there. So in Apocryph case, mm, you can use anything.
yeah, anything, any language, and also any framework. So the idea is that since we are running everything in containers, of course we can measure these containers, and the idea is that there will be something like a standard transaction, uh, standard transaction resources and time window in which a transaction should execute. But certain transactions can say, okay, my computation is gonna take a bit longer, and I want to pay for that. And no problem, you can run your complex thing, your complex framework within Apocryph and have the transactions validated. Of course, it's going to be probably a bit expensive, and of course, probably it's going to be better to actually have a private agent to do that and then just send the result to the main chain. But the idea is that from runtime perspective, we can run really anything.
Uh, and there was also a question when the main chain will start, what other projects will operate on the blockchain?
Okay, so definitely we'll have the Comrade Cooperative implementing its main projects. These are Autonomy and Signet. Autonomy is about DAOs. We'll of course also need autonomy to migrate the Ethereum DAOs to Apocryph mainnet. But also Signet. Signet is for decentralized AI. Basically, it's trustless algorithm search. That's current protocol that we have defined, and we have posted a paper for that. But also we can implement all other kinds of decentralized AI scenarios. Like there was a nice idea here in the channels that the GPT models are currently very popular. They are trained on public data, so the models are also open source currently, but it's expensive to run them locally. And you can have different nodes in the Apocryph network that provide the service of running a GPT for you. And you know that these GPT models, they are very powerful. They are like they're going to steal even our work as developers at one point. You can just ask them, write me a program that does something, and the GPT outputs you the program. So it's going to be very powerful. And another interesting scenario here is kind of like a sci-fi scenario. And because of that sci-fi possibility, we actually named the network Signet. But the idea is that our agents in Apocryph, they can be proactive, meaning that you don't need to send a transaction to an agent to activate it. The agent itself, it has a wallet. So actually, that's another interesting topic. That since the agent has a wallet, when let's say you have an organization and you have voting in this organization, you don't need to ask the members of the organization to pay for their voting, to pay their voting transactions. You may have a voting agent that has whitelisted addresses of members, and when members vote, actually the voting agent is paying for the transactions. So this way we enable all kinds of scenarios like all these democracy scenarios and also all kinds of user feedback scenarios. Like if I buy a product, I can leave a review for free because it doesn't make sense to buy a product and then to pay to leave a review. No one is going to do that. But if I'm whitelisted as someone who has bought the product, I can write a review for free. Like that's a scenario that you cannot do with most of other chains. But yeah, the idea is that agents have wallets, and the idea is that they can also be proactive. So agents don't need to receive a transaction to do something. They can pay for their own transaction. So they can schedule a timer, and an agent can say, "Okay, I want to be activated again in 15 minutes," and the agent pays for that. But also, agent can subscribe to another agent and say, I want to be activated when this agent does something or outputs something. And this way, you can have very interesting agents. So you can have, let's say, a casino, and this casino can run on its own. It can collect bets, and it will make some profit, and it will pay for its existence. So no one can stop this casino. It doesn't even have an owner. It just runs. Or you can have another agent that's, let's say, a chatbot. So you can chat with it. You can actually talk with this agent and ask him to write you programs, let's say. And this agent, it of course has again a wallet. Someone needs to bootstrap it, but at one point it will have a wallet. You can pay this agent to do something, and then this agent can actually retrain its own network by paying Signet nodes to retrain better versions of the network. So basically, this agent can earn money and improve itself entirely on its own. It's entirely autonomous thing, and that's another kind of things existing in the world. We currently don't have such things existing because smart contracts are kind of autonomous, but smart contracts need transaction to be activated, and they don't have they have wallets on their own, but they cannot activate themselves on their own, while Apocryph agents can. And this will make another set of use cases. That's the thing that technology always like when technology develops, new things become possible. That's the idea of disruptive innovation.
Yeah, so I think that we cover all the questions from the community.
Great.
This is all what we have on the list. Rest the things are described in the paper we published days ago.
Yeah, it's not exactly published. I would say it's just a
Well,
draft.
shared to the community.
Yeah, exactly. And it's still not exactly paper. It just describes the token. We have the technical documentation of the project separately in GitHub. But yeah, we are currently working to produce actual paper that has also the token economics and technical description. But yeah, it will take time. So for now, we have separate token document and separately the technical documentation.
Yeah, and regarding the timeline, this is what often people ask. Some
Yeah.
kind of roadmap.
Our biggest goal right now is to deploy the token and the DAOs, which will happen. We hope that we will have the ERC20 and DAOs in November, which will enable us to start rewarding our contributors. It will also help to basically put more life in the DAOs, both the Comrade Cooperative and the core team, and also the community. So the community, like everyone who got a token from airdrop or from contributing to the project, people will become voters. They will start making proposals, start voting. This will bring, I think, more energy to the overall community, and that's our biggest goal right now for November. So in about month and a half, we should have these DAOs. After that, around January, February, we should be able to deploy the bonding curve, but we are delaying it because the bonding curve needs to be reviewed. We want other developers to review the bonding curve contract, because at that point we'll start actually receiving real assets. It's not going to be just distributing our token, but people will start deploying DAI tokens. So that we hope to have this around January or February, but yeah, we'll delay it as long as we need to really make sure that it's working. Then after we finish these two parts, because currently we are not working on Apocryph implementation itself, we have one implementation that's, let's say, alpha testnet. It has a consensus, it can run nodes. The agent zero is very primitive. There are no token economics, but there is consensus and there is runtime. But currently this work is on hold. We're working now on the DAOs and the token and the bonding curve. So after we deploy this, in February, we'll focus again on the core implementation. And since we'll have the DAOs at that point, we hope to bring more people to the team. So we speed up the work. And then around May, June next year, we hope to be able to deploy actual testnet, like full functionality testnet, which will again need several months to mature. So in about a year, we should be able to start the mainnet. That's the overall plan.
Yeah, exactly.
Good. So probably we are ready for today.
Yeah, I also think that.
Good. Guys, if you have some questions, now is the time to ask in the AMA chat. If not, we can just close for today and schedule probably another AMA for probably in a few weeks. Good. I think we are done then. And yeah, thanks for your time. It was pleasure to talk about Apocryph, and yeah, soon we'll have another AMA.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, guys. Bye.
Thank you, guys. Bye bye.